So we are going to use journals on a regular basis in our language arts and social studies class. So anytime I ask you to reflect on something or answer a question, you're going to do that all in one place in your journal, unless it's part of a regular assignment like a Google form or something. That's separate. But anytime there's no one place to put your information, it goes into your journal. A journal is a record of your learning, and it's going to be where you show how you're thinking and how your thinking has changed over time. It's going to be a tool for processing information. So we're going to have some choice in this so that you set it up in a way that works for you, but there's a few things that are for everybody. So first, you're going to title and date everything. Anytime you write something or draw something in your journal or include anything, I want you to include a title and a date. The dates will help us organize the grading process and keep things organized, and the titles show you what that information is about. So title and date everything. Also in your journal, it's more than just writing. Include drawings, diagrams. If you're doing electronic, you can include links, videos, text resources. I would say this, if you end up doing a paper or written journal, I would recommend opening up a Google Doc and keeping that like bookmarked. So anytime you have a digital resource that you want to link in and remember, you can just put it all in one place, because you can't really link very well in a paper journal. That makes sense. But paper journals are very nice for processing. Journal is about learning. So you don't need to worry so much about grammar or spelling. I mean, still write in a way that makes sense, but that's not important here. It's not like writing an essay. It's not about getting every answer perfect. It's more about growth and kind of explaining your journey of understanding. The journal should make sense. So every time you have an entry, like let's say you're answering a question, you either need to write out what the question is and then answer it, or just make sure your answer makes sense and stands alone by itself. Like you probably will know what the question is by reading your answer. Grading of these journals will happen about every 2 weeks, and how it will work is you'll just open up your journal on paper or digitally, and you'll talk me through it. You're going to record yourself in a video. We'll talk more about that later. And you're just gonna, it's very informal. It's not like we're sharing that with anybody. I'm just gonna have you talk me through your journal and your learning for a certain time frame, which is why the dates are so important. That'll happen about every 2 weeks, but if you have trouble with the video, you can always sign up for a Zoom time or drop in during office hours and then just walk me through it during a Zoom call. And then you don't have to record the video. So everybody's going to be using a journal as a record of our learning. So this option is creating a Google Doc for your journal. So I'm using a journal. When we were going out into distance learning last spring, I was getting all these resources and all this direction and information, and I had to process it in a good way. So I used this writing journal to help me process. So journals are real. They're legit for learning. Let me tell you, I needed this. It saved me. So let me show you how I organize it. So I'm going to create a title here. So if I highlight that, this is the tool you're going to want to use a whole bunch if you are doing a Google Doc. So right now it's normal text. I'm going to change it to title. And notice that makes it show up in my outline. The outline shows everything you've made into a title or a heading over here. Here's my little subtitle. I'm going to make that there. And notice, oops, I did title, subtitle. And notice the subtitle did not show up in the outline. So that's just kind of extra information. I kind of like it to be centered, my title, so I'm going to center it. And then notice right now I'm on my subtitle, but if I press enter, it's nice. I don't have to reformat. It knows after a subtitle, I'm going to go to normal text. So it took me back over here to the left and it turned it back into normal text. Now, how I'm going to organize my little subheading. So I actually have this right here. I'm going to create this as a heading. This is actually how I was planning for this journal assignment. So I'm creating a heading, and now it shows up right there, class journals. And remember, we're going to put a date on every single title we put in there. So 9/7/20 is when I'm making this video. You might want to put the date first, your choice, how you want to organize that. Okay, and then maybe I want a little subheading. So maybe this is about the video itself. So I'm going to highlight that and make it, instead of heading 1, I'm going to call it heading 2 or 3 if I want it kind of inside the heading. So if I do heading 2, notice it shows up nested within the class journals kind of topic over here, but it's smaller. And then again, if I click off of it, it takes me back to normal text, so I'm ready to write. So the next thing you need to understand is how to see the outline itself. So mine shows up because I chose it to show up. So the way to get it to show up is go to View, and right here, Show Document Outline. So I'm actually going to end up turning it off right now because mine was already on. So I'm going to go back, turn it on, Show Document Outline. Then once you have it on, you can make it smaller if it's kind of annoying you on the side of the screen. You can use this arrow to just make it small. And then you just click on it again to make it show up again. So you can use that to sort through different titles. Also, if you want to find something in your document and you're not able to see it easily in the titles, I really recommend using Control F. This works on websites. This works on basically anything that's fully digital. So Control F, and up here it takes me to a Find in Document. So let's say I want to know about those emojis, that document that I created. So it takes me, it highlights green, and if it's on the document more than once, it shows that number right here. So this is the first time it shows up in the document, and I can use these arrows. Look, it's on the next time it shows up in the document. If it was far away, it would just take me right down to where it was. So that is the main organization part you're going to use if you use a Google Doc. So use this tool right here to change the text, and then use the outline to figure out how things are. And remember, for every heading, you should have a title and a date so that you'll always be able to find where we're at. This kind of journal is my journal that I use for my teacher education. Did you know that teachers keep learning things as they go? They're lifelong learners. So this one's my professional development is what we call it in teacher terms when we go to school for learning how to be a better teacher for you guys. I mean, we're all great teachers already, don't get me wrong, but we want to be even better, and we keep learning throughout this process. So this is my professional development journal. It includes 2020 and actually some 2019 stuff too. So you can see how I organize it, and this is the kind of organization system you might want to pick up or adapt it for whatever your needs are. So I have a title slide. You're going to include some artwork and your strengths on your title slide. And then I have different sections here, and I like to color code them. So all these blue ones go together. And then you can see, so that was all about universal design for learning. And I have some links there. I've got some images I brought in. I had some reminders or notes I took. And then here, all these yellow codes go together, all the yellow slides, I mean. So those all go together. Here's my green ones. That's a whole different concept. And so I was able to color code. You can add different slides here and to change the background on them. So let's say I wanted another slide here and I wanted it to be a new color. I wanted it to be pink. So then I could have more, and then I can right click and duplicate the slide if I want, or I can do a new slide. It doesn't have the background. You're welcome to actually highlight more than one slide and change the background all at once. So if I want these all to be blue, let's say, now I highlighted both of them, so they're both turning blue. And you can also add slides here if you want a different kind of slide. There's lots of different slide options. Often I had to make the font size smaller. There's also a place down here to add extra notes that don't really have a nice screen to them, but it's a good place to add extra information. So this is using Google Slides to create a journal. And check this out. I can look at my journal in this mode, and then I can see more. And notice I can still read the titles. So I can easily find things. Now my titles are missing something. They're missing the date. So remember to include a date and a title for every single entry you make in your journal. And then if I double click on something, it'll take me right to that slide. And now I am able to edit this slide. So Yeah, this is a good option if that's how your brain works, if you like that kind of linear organization. So this is an example of my own personal paper journal. So I like this for drawing. Now, I like to use color and images, and I do this like when I go listen to an interesting lecture and I want to remember the information. It helps me concentrate and it helps me kind of process and have a record of my learning. I love it. Now, this isn't my journal right here, but you can see it doesn't have to be pretty and colorful like that. You can just do a lot of writing. But remember, again, to always use the date and a title every time you make something. Here's some other examples of journal entries. These ones aren't mine, but you can see it like it's okay to cross things out. It's a learning process. You can type things, or sorry, not type things. You can write things and then cross them out. You might have drawings. They might not be the prettiest drawings. You can use arrows and titles and stick figures to help you understand things and process. You can use diagrams really easily in a paper journal, and remember again, title and date. You can use kind of different categorization of things. So these kinds of journals can be really powerful for your learning and brain development. And actually, if you don't care what type of journal you use, I would recommend doing a paper journal so you can process more. There's a lot of science about that, how it's really good for your brain. Now, there's a few people that it would not be good for. Like if it really bothers you to have to write things by hand, don't use a paper journal. So do whatever makes the most sense to you. So by now you should have chosen which kind of journal you want to create. So go ahead and create it and start out with a title. You're going to probably call it Language Arts and Social Studies 2020 to 2021. And we'll keep using this journal even if we get back in the classroom. So make sure it's something that you're willing to stick with and is good for your processing. The last thing I want you to do after you decide which journal to create is I want you to give it a little bit of a cover. I want you to personalize it. So I'm going to do my personalizing here on my distance learning journal. And I'm using the heading to find the stuff I'm looking for. So over here, I have some creating a journal cover information. So this is what you're going to do to create your journal cover. You're going to include art that represents your identity in some way. Even better if you create the art yourself, but I'm not going to require that. Also, you're going to include at least 3 of your strengths. It could come on the next page from your cover. It could be like a title page kind of thing. Or it could be on that same page. It's up to you. Make it look however is good for you. And then I just want to say this, I probably said it like 5 times in this video. After the cover, remember to include a date and a title for every journal entry, because that is how we're going to organize things. So I already kind of snagged some stuff to put on my cover. So I'm going to cut this out. Control X is what I like to use because it gets rid of it and it copies it at the same time. So I'm going to go back all the way up to the top here, and I'm going to Control V to paste it into my doc. You can also right click to find those options. I want it centered, and maybe I want to make it a little bigger. It's going to kind of be my central image. Okay, so there is my artwork. So you need to find some artwork too. It can be digital, it can be drawn, it could be a photograph. It's up to you. And remember, it's even cooler if you make your own art. And then down here, I'm going to go, I've got my strengths saved, my 4 strengths: restorative, strategic, empathy, and includer. Again, I'm going to use Control X to get rid of them and copy them at the same time. I'm going to go back up to the top. I'm just going to use this to get up to the top. Distance Learning Journal. Here we go. And then so I'm going to write my strengths. And I want that to be bigger, so I'm going to use that same tool up here. I'm going to turn that into, let's say, a subtitle, because actually I wanted a title because I want it to show up in my outline. My strengths, and then I'm going to paste so Control V, I'm going to paste my strengths there. And again, I want it to be centered so it's pretty. Remember, you can use color in the doc. So if I want to change that to like a nice bold, you can use different fonts too. It's up to you. You can use a highlighter too. If you're reading some text and you want to highlight something, you can highlight there. These are good skills for any Google Doc you use, highlighting. If I want to also add links, let me show you how to link on a Google Doc. So I already copied my link wherever I was at. And then I am going to highlight this, and there's two ways to do it. You can use this little link thing right here, or you can right click, or which is a 2-finger tap on a Chromebook. And I'm going to do link. And apparently Control K works too. And then I'm going to paste with my Control V. I'm going to paste that link right there. I'm going to say apply. So now this is a live link. So if I click on it, I can go to that document, and it takes me right to the document. So what I want you to go do now is, for whatever journal you chose, I want you to end this video, and I want you to go create that journal and add your art and add your strengths. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.